All right. Hello. This is Coach's Corner. My name is Liberty Santiago. I am the host of this podcast series, which is bringing coaches, experts to co-teach and bring you valuable information that you can implement in your business. So that way you aren't trying to recreate the wheel, that you're learning concepts. What we're doing here is we're masterminding. So if you're watching live, we would love for you to throw in some comments, some questions. You have access to two experts. I am a business consultant and a mindset trainer, and I absolutely love to help action taking entrepreneurs enjoy their business through automation and leadership. And I explain leadership in such a way that it's different than anything you probably have ever heard. And this leadership modality helps you to have better connections with people, to create better conversions, and just overall enjoy what real leadership looks and feels like. So I'm super excited to be bringing you Candice today, who is our expert and our guest. So Candice, take it away. Introduce yourself. What are you an expert in?
Hi, thanks so much for having me. And I'm a psychic strategist and an oracle. I, I assist and guide business owners into developing their intuitive gifts with a meditative lifestyle. And what that does, I have found in the work, I actually set out to do some different things, but I found out what it does is overcomes imposter syndrome, clarifies life purpose, and helps manifestation happen on a much more consistent basis. So I have a lot of fun teaching people about the woo and breaking through the stigma of what psychic is. So yeah, I've studied it. I've been a coach for a handful of years, but I've studied it for probably 20-25 years. And so it's kind of just a part of who I am. Oh yeah.
That's amazing. So typically, where do you find your, your clients at, not as far as where you meet them, but like psych psychologically, where are they at in their business when you're meeting them? And, what is some results that that they can expect?
Right. Um, 2020 brought a lot of people to my door, and some of them were having massive psychic and spiritual awakenings. Like it was just, they were seeing things, hearing things, sensing things, knowing things, and old wounds and shadows were coming up at such a fast rate. And I even had somebody come to me, true story, and she was like, "Hey, Candice, I've always really liked you. We've gotten along." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "But I want to be really honest. I used to make fun of you." I was like, okay, where's this gonna go?
Mhm.
And she's like, "But she goes, I just, all this stuff started to happen within like 30 days. And I couldn't make sense of it, but I had heard enough of what you did. And so, people are seeking guidance to come back to center and to come back to alignment with their soul, with their spirit. We are more than just this bag of bones, right? And so sometimes some of my clients come because they're just like, what do I do? I'm seeing and hearing things and I have all these intuitive senses, I don't know what to do with them. But most often everybody is having kind of an identity crisis, not knowing where they kind of fit in into this new realm. I mean we as a society and a race on this planet were really shaken up last year. And so so building confidence and being a leader is something that business owners want to be, right? And so when you're going through a lot of personal stuff, it's hard to feel like, number one, you can be a leader,
Mhm.
because you're like, well, why would anybody listen to me? My life's like a hot mess over here or something, right? But I mean, we're all in a hot mess. We all have our hot mess stuff, and so how do we navigate through that? And how do we feel calm in the midst of chaos and uncertainty? And so people usually come to me because they want to meditate and learn how to control some of what's going on in here,
Mhm.
and just step into being a little bit more of a dynamic leader where it's easier to be kind of like a magnet to the opportunities and the clients that you want. So,
Oh yeah.
um, yeah.
Client attraction is a really big thing on in the online space, because people are realizing that those cold outreach messages, they just turn people away. And honestly, if you're giving those cold messages, like, it doesn't even feel good. It doesn't. And I think that helps contribute to the imposter syndrome, because you're like, I'm just doing what my leader told me to do. I'm just doing what my coach told me to do. And it doesn't feel good and it's not working. So do I suck? Like, is my ability to be a successful entrepreneur um, have to do with the fact that I don't know what I'm doing? Maybe I'm just not in the right space. So it causes that confusion, really. And you're right. Everybody has these types of feelings, and it just really depends on how you allow that to dominate in your mind and where you let that take you in your space. But I love what you're able to do, like help shift and, teach the woo and help you get connected to what feels really good. And I think that's what I'm hearing, right? So you're helping people align with what feels really good.
Yeah. And yeah, that essence, we try to force things because it makes sense to, and I invested in a coach and over $30,000, and it was because I'd studied intuition for 20 plus years. And then I got wrapped into a program that I was not at the place in my business for it to be appropriate. And then it ended up being like quite the circus, to be honest. And so it was like, yeah, one of those big learning lessons. But I thought business had to be way more logical. So I put my intuition to the side and I didn't really listen to, the flow of like what I could just do. And I gave a lot of my power away because I wasn't listening to, some of those intuitive nudges coming. Because I love teaching people to trust themselves so that they can go out in the world and not be manipulated as easily. So,
Mhm.
and in business, in life, it doesn't matter, because honestly, these skills kept me from getting completely, absolutely caught up in a human trafficking ring in Vegas. So, it saved my life. And,
Yes, I
you know,
remember when we were connecting in the DMs, you were explaining this story to me, and I thought, holy crap, I need to hear about this. Like, that was a cool story, like, really amazing. It almost feels like it could have been a dream, huh?
it was just, yeah, it was nuts. I mean, it just, well, and it led me more into my purpose because my company is called the Luminous Warriors. And Luminous Warriors are, it's not about being aggressive, but yet it kind of is about being aggressive in our way of taking charge and coming through life and doing what we want to do and leaving this legacy as well. But it's also warriors of light. So yeah, we have to take a really firm stand. We've got the light there to temper it. So I look at the luminous warrior type of energy being light and kind of light and dark. And so it was this whole synchronistic series of events that I had finally unfolded, and I realized how much of my soul purpose and my life purpose was related to what happened in a degree in Vegas. And teaching people those skills to just trust, because had I not been open and connected to higher power, consciousness, light, whatever name we want to give it, I easily could have made a couple of small decisions that could have taken that evening a whole different direction. And so
Mhm.
I see the power in that, and then applying it in business, because there is a lot of people out there that, number one, I think are trying to take advantage of in the coaching world. And number two, that don't mean to do anyway, because they don't really know exactly like what they're offering and stuff. So if we can feel into, is this the appropriate person at the appropriate time for me to invest in, that it changes everything. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I get passionate about about teaching people to do this because it's
Mhm.
modern magic, in my opinion. It's everything I wanted to believe in as a kid. So
That's so good. Well, our life gets to be enjoyable and it gets to be high vibration. And, when things are really, really good, I mean, it feels really, really good. But, when things aren't really good, then there's causing this like conflict. Like, man, I know there's a better way. I know that I just really want to, almost be able to really elevate, grab those wings and fly. They're there. Like, it's happening. It can happen, but we have to allow ourselves to get out of our own way. So what's a tip that you would give somebody that you're working with? How do they find their own wings? How do they do this?
I love that. Love that you say wings too. That's in my logo. Like, yeah. And I've been thinking about it because I'm getting ready to print a big banner to take pictures in front of and stuff, and wings. And so that's a good,
Ooh, see?
yeah, yeah.
It's alignment. I love it.
Yeah, I have a live event just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah at the end of April. And so my husband and I are trying to figure out dimensions and stuff, so wings, super fun. It sounds like a trendy, oversimplified answer, but it's meditation.
Mm,
Absolutely 100%. When you can conquer this beast of meditation, because for some people it feels like a beast because they're like, I can't do it, my mind wanders, I don't have time, nothing happens. All of that is just kind of normal until you work into a practice, right? It's just like exercise. You go to the gym and you're not going to see results right off the bat. And so you have to give it some time. And that's why it's called a practice. It's a personal practice. I have a 14 days to a successful meditation practice like Facebook group. Each day is a 5-minute video. So if anybody's interested in that, definitely mention that in the comments. But there's just so many different ways to meditate. It doesn't have to look the way Hollywood makes it look, the way
mm,
that you've tried before and haven't done. There's no wrong way to meditate except to not meditate at all, for heaven's sake. And that space is yours and yours alone, and your higher power, if you believe in one, right? Even if you don't, then you at least understand energy. Like, that's a way for you to tap into a different kind of energy than what's going on kind of in the outside world. And it is a reflection too. So the more that we can do on the inside, it just, we have more power to make things happen on the outside. And so uh, I've heard all the excuses, and I promise you, in fact, I challenge all of the meditation skeptics to come to me and drop me, slide into my DMs and we'll chat about it. But because it totally is possible, and that science is starting to catch up and see that consciousness and meditation and going within has a lot of power, physically, emotionally, mentally. And yeah, it is the seat of your power. And when you can go in and play around and you know what's going on, you heal wounds, you can uncover answers and find inspiration. You can talk
mhm.
to spirit guides. You can even talk to loved ones that have passed on through your intuitive senses. We're all psychic. We all have intuitive senses if we choose to dive into that and really explore what that means for us. But meditation in and of itself only takes 5 minutes for the whole body to experience the benefits, the reduced inflammation, that kind of a thing. So I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on about the benefits. There's just more and more of them that are stacking up, but that's the tip.
That is so good. I love that you have that resource available within your group, because I was going to ask you, like, so what can people do? And you're the expert on that. So the fact that you have that readily available is really, really good. So if you guys are watching, the group is called
Join. Okay, well, so join the group called Grow Your Business Intuitively. That's like that's our base camp for everything that gets
Mhm.
launched in there. And if you are particularly interested in the 14-day meditation thing, seriously send me a message and let me know, and I'll talk to you about what you need to do to get into that. And because it's a little bit of a different setup. So, but I would love to have you, in the group, because we also will be doing a money method, money energy type of course in the next few weeks too. So just go to
Ooh,
Grow Your Business Intuitively on Facebook, and we have a lot of fun in there. We do weekly oracle card readings and yeah,
that's
contests.
cool. I know that's a hot topic with the clients that I work with. They really are interested in, the money aspect, the money piece. How do I attract more money? And it does sound totally woo, but it's all subconscious blocks and beliefs.
Yeah.
So I'm still tapping into how to uncover that. But as far as a resource goes, we work through it together, talking about those beliefs and what does that really look like? Why do you feel that you can't charge, and all of those things. So you've been coaching for how long?
4 years.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and I started out as a health coach because my body contracted Lyme disease in 2011, and I didn't know if I could go back to the work field, and I really liked being a freelancer anyway, and so I loved it, but again, I wasn't really tapped into my purpose and some of my intuition. I did what made sense on paper, and then when everything fell apart, I had a really smart mentor. I was giving psychic readings one night, and she was, pointing out that that's something I could market and everything. And I was like, well, everything's kind of crashing in this business anyway. So maybe if I just pivot, and
Yeah.
it blew up. blew up because I was in alignment with those things that, like you said, make me feel good and just are in alignment with me. Like, I didn't care if it didn't make sense and the coaches out there saying, you need to do this type of funnel and you need to do this. It was like, I'm going to throw this out there because I have fun and this is me and we're going to do this and I'm going to do this contest. And it was just, I was testing my own market with all the fun things that I wanted to do. And then I collected that data to see what they responded to. And, the more stuff I do in alignment, the more they respond to. And so, yeah.
Yes. And I really want to highlight what you just said. It's not about the funnel. It's not about the website. It's not about the offer. It's about having freaking fun and loving your offer. It is. Yeah. If you don't have that, it doesn't matter what you're trying to sell. You cannot sell something you do not feel passionate about. You cannot walk through and become successful if you do not love. And I want to stress this word, love. You have to love it. You can't just like it. You can't just like it. And so I love that you said that, because that's huge. And that stops a lot of entrepreneurs. It does. It's like, I got to do it this way that such and such coach. Stop watching all these damn coaches. Yeah. It works for them. We're all so unique. We're very similar in capabilities and human potential and all these things, but what works for one person doesn't have to work for somebody else. Yeah. And that is where we get these crazy strategies that we spend time and spend money and then end up flopping.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot out there that we can mimic, but like we feel that then we stop and don't create it into something of our own. And and so that I think is really that trick, is if we can just mimic kind of what's out there, because we all teach each other and we try that. I'm like, oh, I love what that coach is doing. I'm going to try it on my audience. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and so, yeah, good point. I love that.
Yeah, I love that. What I really love in business and what I've been learning, like, I don't know if you know this, but I've only been in this online space for a year. And my favorite thing to do is to connect with people and to, learn about what they're doing. And by taking all of that, I have been able to learn how to find strategies and things that will work with people who share that same type of energy, that same type of vibe. And so this podcast is amazing, because this is part of what I'm doing. This is part of my collection of data to be able to help people. And plus, it's just so fun to just get with somebody and, share tips and tricks and all the things, because we're not here to just, write a book and stick it on the shelf and then it never go anywhere. We want to help people and we want to impact those lives. That's what true leadership really is leading and guiding through, these talents that we have. It's not just growth strategies. It's not just delegation and, the what to do. Everybody knows what to do, right? Yeah. Because you can read that. But it's getting inspired to become the best version of yourself so you can do it consistently. Yep. I love it. So I'm really thankful and grateful that you stepped up, because this conversation has really added value to myself and my energy. And I can only imagine the people who are watching who are maybe in a space like, yes, I needed to learn this too. So that's awesome. So one more thing is, what would you tell your younger self if you could? Let's see, maybe 20 years ago.
First thing that came to mind was like, I'm going to give her a swift kick in.
Swift kick in the ass? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, literally that just like popped right into my head. I'm like, all right, we're going to have a chat. Do it sooner and don't give up.
Yes.
Do it sooner and don't give up. There's a meme that I'll see on Facebook every now and then, and it's got two miners. They're mining for gold, and the miner at the top, they're both actually like an inch away from like diamonds or gold or something like that. And the guy at the top is continuing to work, and the guy at the bottom is just like, okay, I'm done. It's not here. And he walks away, and he's literally, inches from gold. And it takes a long time to see, like, to build the, like, to having confidence, is something that took me a long time to really build. So it's like having those skills earlier on, I think, would have helped me be at a different place financially and my career and what I'm doing. But I do believe in divine timing for sure. I do believe we are in the right places where we need to be throughout our path. But the don't quit part is huge for me too, because I wanted to quit dozens of times over. And then finally, after that, those first 2 to 3 years, I was able to see some bigger milestones start to happen. I sold my first one-on-one coaching client. I sold my first, 4-figure package. I sold my first this or what, and it just starts to get bigger and bigger. And then there's this track record that I'm like, holy cow, I can see the growth. Yeah,
Yeah.
now it's not so hard to keep going because I can stop wondering if it's going to work. And it really isn't about if, it's about when, if you just keep going and pivoting when you need to and just keep doing the work, showing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so good. To, if you can talk about like quantum fields, like the quantum field, because when when you look back and you see that, it's these lessons that you want to learn. And what if you look back at this yourself 20 years ago and you're like, I'm going to kick you in the butt. Like, let's go, let's do this. So now that you know that piece, like, how do you take that and have a quantum leap now? Just knowing that all things are possible.
Yeah. And the meditative space is exactly where I have been able to find the courage, the inspiration, and the tools that I needed. Because and it's not necessarily that I always have the answers and get them every single time. Sometimes my guides and angels do not give me information when I want it. Sometimes it comes at the interesting things, but it's also that when I'm in that space and I'm working things out and I'm manifesting and healing and moving energy and playing in that quantum field, stuff in the outside world just starts to fall into my lap. And it's like, yes, this is what I'm talking about, like the flow, being able to get this stuff to kind of come to you. So I love that you mentioned that, the quantum field.
Yeah. So, for me, particularly, the deeper that I dive, the more introspective that I get, the more willing I am to look inside my subconscious mind and pluck it out, whatever it is that's blocking me. It's like the faster I get results. The other day, I did a hypnotherapy and I was looking at myself for receiving blocks. And three particular instances came up. And I was like, how? I would never even guess that that was like holding me back. 30 minutes after I did this session, which hypnotherapy is just another form of meditation in my mind. It's just guided.
Yeah.
And live, and the practitioner has a way to help you get into that subconscious mind.
Yeah.
But 30 minutes after I removed this blockage, I had somebody I've never even spoke to hit me up in the DM to join my new business, and I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Like,
cannot make this stuff up. You cannot. 20 years ago, my best friend and I started playing in all of this field, like, because we had the seat. Well, yeah, it was about 20 years ago, but then like The Secret came out. If anybody has ever,
yeah.
watched the movie, read the book, right? So The Secret had very first kind of come out. There was also like What the Bleep do we know? What the Bleep do you know?
Ooh,
Um,
I love that.
yeah, what the bleep do we know? I don't know if it's you or we, but anyway. And so we just really dove into it, and we would call each other like several times a week, and we're like, oh my gosh, I totally was thinking about this like yellow couch, and I drove down the street and there was a yellow couch sitting right there. I mean, it was happening like a lot, and it's just fun, and that's why I call it magic, because
Yeah.
and this is something that I say on stage. I know we're probably just getting ready to close down, but on stage, I have spoken about the top 10 grossing movies, and I haven't checked what they were last year, but the year prior, 7 out of 10 of them were all superhero or fantasy magic related. We are hungry. We are hungry for something better, brighter, more magical, easier, more flow and glitter, for hell's sake, and so uh, there is a way to definitely have it. And I believe that through that introspection and through our intuitive and psychic senses, we can really experience a lot more than we've ever been told we could. So
No, I love that so much. So what is your favorite, what offer are you loving right now? Like, if you could just have your ideal client right now watching, what is it that you would love? How is it that you would love to meet them, to help them with what offer?
Honestly, I really love my one-on-one coaching sessions because they are very customized for whatever people need. It can be 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I have a 12-month program. I have a monthly membership. So I have a wide variety. And so I love to talk to people and find out like where they're at. And we talk about what's on the table. And then I kind of let you intuitively choose. I'm not a hard sell. I don't overcome objections. If you
Yeah.
tell me I can't afford it, I'm going to say, okay, well, if when you're ready to come back, I'm here. Come and learn from me and with all my free stuff, right?
Yeah.
I just trust that people will invest when they know that it's right. And yeah, so I love the process of with just connecting, but the one-on-one stuff is really fun because it's just so customized. But yeah, I also really like my monthly membership. It's just $33 a month too. It's like lower commitment, but there's such a smattering of information in
Yeah.
all of these different areas. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know, just hit me up. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's great because, everybody's at a different price point, a different place in their life, and you're willing to meet them where they're at. And I think that that is a testament to your character,
Mm,
because you're willing to put your services out there, and there really is. There's usually ways to work with coaches, and sometimes the coach may have this idea like I need to sell this particular offer, and that gets way too ingrained in their head, and then they get out of service mode, and then they really lose out on helping somebody. So I love that you are stepping up to helping people right where they're at. That's huge.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We cannot wait to get to your comments and to interact with you guys. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. We are here for you, and thank you for tuning in to Coach's Corner. If you are a coach yourself and you would love to be featured and interviewed by me, then please send your inquiry to me and I'll send you the application, and it'll be a good time. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great day. Bye.